Good morning, everybody. I'm on the clock is right, and because it's the Christmas clock.
Yes,
as
it
we
is.
are in the Christmas countdown here at Money in the Law, My FM 101.3 in the Holliston Hub. It is your show. It is your Saturday morning. It is the pinnacle of your Saturday.
This is it right here. This is the big Saturday right here.
Money in the
Big
Law,
Saturday,
and it is the Christmas show. Money in the Law, of course, with your host Jay Marsden. He's from the Marsden Law Group. I'm John Drohan from Main Effort Financial.
Yes,
Tom
you are.
Harmon is representing the Holliston Hub. And here we are. It is. I mean, you're listening. You're seeing this. It could be Saturday.
Could be both. You could be doing both. Could be doing both.
Yep. And it's
radio on in the
Saturday.
background, TV on. That whole Johnny Mo Celtics thing. We talked about that before.
It's Christmas Eve, which is one of my favorite days of the year. You know, that Christmas Eve, like where you're like, hey, it's not because Christmas Eve. It's like you're in.
And it's a Saturday. So actually pick up an extra day instead of it's during the week. Yeah.
Saturday, right?
Long weekend.
So this is it. And when people say, when the songs say, when everybody says, it is the most wonderful time of the year, in my heart of hearts, it is the most wonderful time of the year. I think Tom is right there with me. And today's show, the goal of today's show is just to kind of bring you a little bit closer to the Christmas tree, a little bit closer to the hearth side. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do.
I love it. All right, good. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. That's exciting news. I'm looking forward to it.
We did a little gift exchange.
Yeah, hold on. No, I haven't. No, hold on.
You're going to need this.
It was I wouldn't call it a Yankee swap. You know, Yankees are a notoriously frugal group, so you know that would have been a little different.
Mine was a little beyond Yankee swap.
Yeah. There was no. That's the sound of wrapping paper. That's not an actual sound effect. That's real wrapping paper. That is not the magic of radio right there. Yeah. Not the magic. Let me guess. Socks. Mittens.
Not quite.
Mittens.
Nope. Only a true Islander can appreciate that.
Look at this. Are these Wellfleet oyster gloves for oystering?
That is your oyster shucking kit right from the Wellfleet Oyster Fest.
This I thought you were going to give me like a gag gift. Like I thought you were going to give me the clattering teeth, or you were going to give me. This might actually get some use.
I'm telling you, I don't give. There's no such thing as a gag gift.
Yeah.
Santa knows what you need, right?
Yes, he do.
Tom,
yes, he do. I'm touched.
You're quite well. And look, it comes with that little.
Comes with an actual oyster shell.
You can put that on your Christmas tree.
And you slurp right out of there, and everybody around you gags and goes, "I can't believe you're eating those."
Yep. And you're like, I'll have 11 more. Yeah.
Yep. I'll have 11 more. Do you have any more horseradish? Yeah. Some spicy sauce. Let's get on this thing.
Right. Yeah.
God.
I mean, and that's the thing is like when you eat oysters, you're not eating them just for nourishment. You're eating them because it's a party. You're eating them because it's a thing.
It's absolutely an event. They roll those things across the restaurant. They drop those on the table.
Yeah,
it is a sight to behold.
Right. And you watch the guy do it. Yeah. It's fantastic.
Have you been to the? I know everybody. It's not a tourist trap. Have you been to the Union Oyster House?
Of course I have. Yeah.
I mean, you get a seat right at the bar, right? It all comes together.
Yeah.
And those guys are just sitting there, just whacking away on those things, bang, bang, bang. I mean,
shucking.
Oh, it's a. Because we talk about this all the time. Because we're so close to the city, and we don't take full advantage of it. That's a Sunday afternoon project to behold. Like, you know what? We're staying over. Book a room, because we're going old school, and we're going to go hang out at the Oyster House and just hang around and just.
And you say that, right? I mean, you think about it, like we are too close to the city to pass up on that, right?
Yeah. Depending on your day and when you're getting there, it's either a 40-minute ride or a 4-hour ride. Depends. It's no big deal.
That was a 4-hour ride. So before we get into that, Tommy, oysters. Are you an oyster guy? Not really.
Oh, so look at the face. Look at the face. Not even like a delicate no. Like
that's a hard no. That was like a hard no, but just trying to be.
Like we can't talk him into one. That's not like a let's talk him into one. Like $20 if you eat this. He's like, I'm good. I'm good. Thanks. I'm good. I'm good.
Keep it coming.
Yep, that's right. That's right. One of my most fun times ever at the Union Oyster House is my wife's got a bunch of girlfriends from college that they try to get together once a year. They're really good about getting together with the wives and the husbands, and they've stayed good friends for all these years. And go Bridgewater Bears, great crew. And so it was always some place in town. Let's meet in town. And one of the landing spots one year was the Union Oyster House, and there was enough of us that we got there, and we literally had commandeered the entire set of chairs right there at the Oyster Bar,
Oyster
and
Bar,
we owned them all, and a lot of laughing, and then people are coming in, can we sit here, and just a great time. It was probably a midday thing. We might have left later in the day. There might have been some food and beverages consumed during that time, but it was one of my all-time favorite times we ever had in there. It was just a great, it was just a super low-key, fun thing to do. So if you're looking for something during the week between New Year's and Christmas,
I was going to say, if you want to have a little Christmas, like a Christmas
oh, you want to get some cheer going?
Get going. Get over
oh,
it.
Yes, make it a point. Cup of chowder. You know, who used to end up there every year?
Who?
John Kerry. That's where he used to.
That's where
he used to wait for his election results.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
That's right.
Yep. John Kerry.
Yep.
So I miss John Kerry. Right?
Well, who doesn't? Come on.
I miss him.
Yeah. He's a good man. He's a good man.
He's a good man, and he knows about ketchup. Listen.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So one of the things. So we're talking about gifting, right? So you got you got to open your gift. Tom, of course, got his gift, which is something, and it's not something that he wanted. It's something that he needs.
Cocaine.
It was not cocaine. No, he doesn't, because he doesn't want nor need that.
Just asking.
He needs a talking tire gauge. So, because how many times have you you get your little indicator and your tire's low, and you go down, you're like, I'm going to be diligent about them and check my tire. And you check it, and the little thing pops up, and you're like, "Is that between like 30 or?" And it's hard to tell like which one, unless especially in a car like yours, which has no indicator of any of what the.
I've waited so long to change the tires that any indication of what kind of tire or what the PSI is has long been worn off the tire.
Or if you're doing it at night, which oftentimes Tom would probably be fine if you're doing it.
Yeah.
I need to check the air of my tire, make sure that they're balanced. It speaks to you. It speaks to you, right?
So hold on. Let me ask you a question. So does it tell you how much air is in your tire, or does it tell you how much air you should be putting in your tire?
Tom's going to let you know.
All right.
I think it may tell you both.
That might be a future report. But I mean, that would be helpful, because I never know how much air is supposed to go in the tire.
Actually, I don't know if it actually senses what kind of tire.
See, that's what I'm saying.
You put that thing up to one of those big tractors. I'm sure there's a different air pressure.
That's kind of where I'm going with this.
Than is in that Maserati that you're driving.
And Tom, by the way, just so you know, the way Drohan hands out his gifts, when you put this thing on your tire, it might not even tell you how much air is in your tire. It might just say, you need air in your tire. And it just might end there. That might be what it all, and then you say, so how much air? I don't know. How much air is in there? And it just says, you need air. You need air.
Put in air.
That's
You're
right.
low on air.
That's right. That could be how it goes.
Which is good. All right. And we also, of course, got gifts from Tom, which, and this is without question, this is Tom's famous, it's the bread and butter pickle.
Yes.
There's a little bit of, I think there's a little heat in there too. If my
I think there is. Right? I think there is. Yep.
Not so much?
We'll put some in there.
All right.
You know what these would go good with? Oysters. Yep.
You know what these would go good with? Anything.
Yep.
These are good. Oh, and then of course, you know what? You're too kind.
I thought we did okay on just the one.
Thank you very much, Tommy. You're too generous. You're Santa's helper yourself.
Tom, I got you a gift right here.
Oh, and Jay's got
I got you.
It's wrapped in 100.
I got you.
Yeah, every
that's
year.
right. That's right.
That's how we did. Him and Taylor Swift.
Yep.
All right. Speaking of Taylor Swift, how's your Christmas going so far?
Speaking of Taylor Swift, great. It's great. Taylor's coming over Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Riley's birthday. No, Christmas is fine. Other than that tropical storm that rolled through here and I think set everybody back a couple of days on their planning. It's been great. It's the kids will be home. I got one more flying in. So then I think to use your nomenclature, the band will all be back together.
Your band will be back together.
So we got to get one more in the door, and then everybody else is home. It's funny. The kids are now some of the kids are home, but they still have online classes. Some of them have online exams,
which I don't get.
It's a whole
right?
It's a whole different world. It's a whole different world.
I don't get like Phoebe. I'm like, what? She's like, oh yeah, I got this thing. It's like 2:00 in the morning. It's due tomorrow. I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah. Can't look at mom, and she said, I have to take a test tomorrow, and I said, I thought you were all done. She goes, no, the teacher let us vote. Do you want to stay here at school and take the test?
That's America.
Or do you want to go home and you can take it online when you get home and we'll figure it out? And I thought to myself, I remember getting all those options at UMass when dinosaurs roamed the earth and I was at school. Sure. Yep. Professor, I'd like to take this from home because, because it's home. Because it's home. Because it's home.
Yeah, because then I'll have my notes with me and the textbook, and I might do better than if I just take the test right now, the which I didn't study for.
Yeah. I mean, rather than take it in this gigantic auditorium that hasn't seen heat since the Eisenhower administration.
The heat's off. The heat's off because it's like the end of the semester. Chester.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Good old state school. We can shut it. We can start shutting it down around around Halloween.
This Big Pen is freezing up on me.
That's right.
I can't believe it.
That's right. So so it's all exciting. It's all good. It's all good. Can't wait. Looking forward to it.
You know, having it is fun. It is fun, like where everybody comes home and. But you know, as we're seeing right now, like as the kids are getting older, right?
Yeah.
And it's a different kind of coming home, right? It's a different and in a lot of ways it's good. I mean, it's different, right? We miss the old days. We always miss like kind of
Sure,
like the
yeah,
old, like,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But now, you know, they're like, it's like, hey, what do you want to do? And to the point where they've kind of come full circle. They're like, hey, let's do something.
Yeah.
Like they get you moving. Where in the old days you'd be like, come on, we got to get something. We got to do. Let's do something Christmas.
Yeah. And the activities get a little more adult, right? So now it's
Yeah.
like, hey, we going over dinner tonight? You're
Yeah,
like, oh, now you want to go over dinner, right?
That's good.
I couldn't drag you out of here 5 years ago, right? Now everyone wants to go out.
No,
sure.
no. And they like to, and we're lucky because they just like your kids, they get along with one
Yeah.
another, so they want to hang out with one another. So
yeah.
you know, you're on the clock. You have a limited amount of time.
Well, that's it. You have a limited amount of time that they're home, and you're on that. And that clock is limited for a whole host of reasons.
Yeah.
We've talked about that in the show before. Yeah. So that's what you're dealing
So
with.
we're in full swing, and you know, so as you guys know, we record this on Wednesdays. It's the 20th. So this countdown for me.
Oh, it's on. It's a hard. It's a hard stop for you. I know.
It is.
I know.
It's like taking that turn on the ski slope, and then the rest of it is just you're in Black Diamond all the way down.
There you go.
So
Last run of the year.
So there's things to do.
All right. So what are we talking about? Do you have something on your mind, or are you we're just gonna? What do you want to do?
Yeah, I mean, I want to talk about Christmas. I want to talk about the holidays. I want to talk about like taking a break. I want to talk about like, you know, there's a time to do things, and then there's a time to kind of like separate from it.
Hey, to everything there is a season, right? Some might say, right? I mean, that's what I'm saying. You know?
Some might
say that.
Some might
say
even
that.
write a song about it.
Some might do that. So let's take a quick break because we're about quarter into the show here. Let's
about halfway through the
we're
show.
halfway through the show. Take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll talk whatever it is that's on that elfin mind of yours this time of the year.
I want everybody to know.
All right. Let's take a quick break. We'll talk about it when you get back.
We'll be right back on Money in the Law, my FM 101.3, Holliston Hub. Don't go away.
And you're back, my FM 101.3. Jay Marsden with the Marsden Law Group. John Drohan, Main Effort Financial. Tom's on the bag today, keeping us all handsome and skinny
Christmas
here.
bag, yeah.
Yep, the Christmas bag. That's right. And are you traveling at all during the holiday? Let me ask you that.
No.
Tommy, how about you? No, everyone's
You?
hanging around. No, staying local.
Yeah.
Staying local.
So what's the Florida vibe? Do people go to Florida for Christmas?
What
I mean, you're Florida.
According to Expedia, everybody in the country goes to Florida December 26th.
Yeah,
apparently,
that's true, yeah.
apparently there's a bit of a shift in the supply and demand curve there for those of you who are economics majors.
Yeah, a little higher.
Yep. Things change a little bit. Things change a little bit.
Surcharge on the fare.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who's going down for. I don't know what the vibe is for that. I mean, we've never contemplated it seriously. We've talked about it like, oh, wouldn't it be nice to, spend the holidays, marching around in flip flops and all that stuff. But it hasn't happened yet, and at some point maybe down the road. But I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of people go earlier. I think a lot of people go like the October, November timeframe, and then fly back for the holiday.
Yep.
That's the sense I get. But some people go and just say, hey, you want to come down? You'll know where to find me. But if you don't, that's on you.
And you go to Florida because obviously the weather's nicer and it's more predictable and yada yada.
Yeah. Well, it's just a different vibe. Just a different vibe.
Which is the wrong vibe. That's what I'm getting at.
Is that
what I'm
where you're
getting
going?
at is it's
set up?
absolutely the wrong vibe, and I'm going to tell you why.
Please do.
So
I'm sure you are.
You had alluded to earlier about this tropical storm that we had, which was unfortunate. There's a lot of damage. I mean, some people had more damage than you. You were fighting it both at the office and at the house.
Flooded everywhere. It was crazy.
At the
it's like
house.
a Seinfeld episode. Yeah.
We had a couple of chairs blow over.
Nice. There you go.
A
Yeah.
tree fell
Yeah.
down in the woods. I didn't hear it, so therefore it
So it
actually
didn't fall.
Not
Didn't
really
fall.
sure if it fell or not. What about you, Tom? Do you have any damage at the house?
No.
Nothing. All right. Good. I mean, Tom played
Pinecrest did though.
Pinecrest. You played Pinecrest. You said during that.
Pinecrest on the big trees down.
There you go. All right. There you go. Right there.
That's another obstacle. Yeah.
Another uphill battle.
Here's my point. My point
please.
is this.
Yeah.
Enlighten
us.
If that tropical storm, how many of us were like, can you imagine if this were snow?
I know.
Everybody's saying it, right? And if it was, I don't even know if we'd be here right now. We'd probably
still be digging out.
We'd be digging out. We'd be buried up to our. But again, for whatever the New England weather,
Sure.
we can't really predict it. But whether it's snow, whether it's pouring rain, pumping into your basement, a foot of snow, what I want to relay to you
Please.
is that your house, like where you live in a cool place. You're moaning about it, like how I got too much debris and stuff. I mean, but you're like in like the quintessential New England like little cul-de-sac.
Oh, we're in the woods. We're in the woods.
I mean, not only you're in the woods, but like when I think about Christmas, like it's like grandmother's house.
Oh yeah, we're over hill, over dale.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised if I like went to your house and like took a piece of your house, and I bet it would not taste like gingerbread. Yeah, I mean,
okay.
You do.
Yeah.
You have that. And I've been to your house, like in the seasonal, and it decorates nice. Your wife, she loves like
Yeah, she does a great job. Yeah, does a great job. Yep.
So what is it? Why?
Oh, is this all about why am I the Grinch? Is that why?
It's an intervention.
Is that what this is? That door locked? Can I get out of this room? Can I get out of this room?
I'm raise leaning on it.
Yeah, no, I just whatever. I think it's I like the.
Well, what do you like about it?
I like hanging around with family and friends.
Yeah,
that's what I like. I like seeing people.
Yeah,
that's what I like. I think a lot of the other extravagances are just a lot of work for not a lot of ROI.
And that's right. And
that's my thing.
And it's true. Like there's some people, and I'm not going to say anybody in this room.
Right.
Some
people embrace it.
They go a little over, and I'm the first to admit it.
Like you see, let's air this out.
Okay.
You see these guys that have like a bajillion lights on their house.
Yeah.
I mean, to the point that it's like the neighbors are calling in daily to complain to the city, right?
Right.
Well,
their meters whizzing
right,
around.
Yeah, that's right. They're using more energy than like a small country, whatever, right? So so I look at that and I go, well, what's the purpose of that?
Yeah.
I mean, again, somebody would say,
there is a purpose.
Somebody would
right?
say, oh, that's the extremes. I go, but really, like for two things. Number one, what's the purpose of that? Mm-hmm. That's the first thing. And number two, who has that much time?
Some people.
Now, look, if you're retired, if you work for yourself and you have the ability to flex a little bit and do whatever you want to do, I look at those setups and I just say to myself, why?
Yeah.
Why? So it's that type of it's that application to a lot of things.
Right.
That's like I said, we have a house full Christmas Eve. I couldn't be happier.
Yeah.
Could not be happier. Surrounded by family and friends, gathering together, seeing everybody together, having a great time. That personal, emotional connection that you make with people during the holidays, I love it. That I love. That I'm all over. All the other stuff that seems in a lot of ways just over the top, it's like,
And it's almost like you get caught in this catch-22, right? Because one of the cool things that has kind of made you stay in New England, right? Other than
sure.
I mean, you're a New England guy. Now, granted, I understand that your heart, you have a little piece of your heart
sure.
that's down south at the end of that, that other country, but you. For the most part, you're a New
Born and raised Bostonian.
So when you go somewhere else, anywhere else, you go to Texas, you go to California, you go to Wyoming, Chicago, wherever.
Yep.
You're always like, yeah, this is nice, but I mean, this is speaking for myself.
Sure.
I'm like, yeah, this is okay. Wouldn't want to live here. Great place to visit.
Yep.
I've been to the South. Been all over the U.S.
Yeah.
Wouldn't want to live here, but you know what? I like back home, right? And I think
sure.
about the reasons why I like the seasons. I like the way it's set up, the quaintness of it. I mean,
the proximity to family and friends and all. Yes,
I like how it's small, but I also like how it's. I also like how there's there's a little bit of there's woods, there's space, right?
Very manageable. You get mountains on one end, you get the ocean on the other end.
Exactly.
Yes,
close to the water, right? Yeah. So when it comes to Christmas, there's that New England piece of it that you love, right? And so when you have the guy who's like, who goes all out, and you're like, whoa, that dude went all out. Like and you're almost like, wow, on the one hand it's like, who has the time? And you kind of like be like, but on the other hand, you're like, well, He's doing it because he feels like this is what it's going to make him happy. Like this
No,
is going to
I
make.
never see it that
this
way.
Is good. This is the way I see it.
Nope.
It's going to
I'm
make.
sure
him
that's
happy,
how you see it. That's
and
not how I
he's-
see it.
And he's bringing some, which
He's bringing joy. Is that your story? He's bringing joy,
he's
bringing joy to the
bringing some
masses.
joy, right?
Is that what he's doing?
I mean, he's bringing joy to himself because it makes it
doing-
because he's proud
He's
of
committing
it, right?
climate suicide. Is that the way it goes? Is that how it works?
There's a lot more climate suicide.
I
than
know,
just-
I know.
Than, you know,
That was bait. That was bait.
Than
That
his
was
like,
bait.
than his like,
And his
projected,
meter's zipping
his
away for a week.
projected
Yeah.
Rudolph, you
Yeah.
know, and stuff.
Yeah.
So there's that. So that kind of effort, and again, especially like in the New England area, I feel like that's something that. You know, I get it. It's over the top, but for this particular like small, you know, sliver in time,
Sure.
I like over the top.
Oh, yeah.
I like over the top, and you know, not so much. You know there's all the materialism of Christmas. There's all material of the holidays, which you're right. It's so overdone.
That's a different. That's like a whole nother debate.
It's so overdone. But you could say anything like the decorations,
Yeah.
the kind of the stores, having stuff like in October, starting to sell stuff in October. All of that is
Annual complaint by everybody, but not just me. A lot of people.
all of that is, but it's almost like, to me, it's like this. Like, I'm not going to say it's a necessary. I didn't say it's evil. It's a necessary function of the season, because what it does is it emphasizes the importance of the holiday. It emphasizes the importance of and whatever holiday you celebrate, it emphasizes the importance of this time of year to get to the point where you want to get to, which is everybody getting together.
Yeah, I know. I got you.
And
I got
everybody
you.
see,
Yeah.
and one of the things, so this year, again, unfortunately, our Christmas party has been postponed.
Yeah.
It's not canceled.
So are you going to keep all this stuff up until the party? That's my question.
I don't.
I mean, that would make perfect sense. I mean, you're sitting here.
it's in-
Hold on. You're sitting here, right? You're pulling your Jack Frost move, right?
Yeah.
This is your how much I love it, right?
Yeah.
So for all the obvious reasons, right? The party had to get put on the back burner. Understandable, right? Someone on the IR, you got to get everybody back to their trim, fighting trim. So now that's my question, right? If you're going to circle back to the holiday, are we going to keep the whole shooting match going until the actual thing?
No, it's
or are we going to take it down and then try to recreate the magic? Because it's a little tough to jumpstart that puppy in
you know what?
late January.
Don't worry, it's all worked out.
All right.
So
I have
you
faith.
don't
I'm just asking.
It
As your
doesn't-
lawyer,
I understand. I appreciate your counsel. That party, it's going to look a little different.
Okay. All right.
It's going to look a little. It's going to be different, but it's going to be the same.
I'm sure.
Right
All right.
there. It's going to
All
be
right.
different, but there'll be many
Like
similarities.
a Sadie
So,
Hawkins celebration, or what are we
I
talking?
mean,
February? What are we
who
talking?
knows? Who knows? Who knows when? Who knows when it'll happen? And when it does happen, it's going to be.
When it happens, you'll know it.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. That's exciting.
You'll know. In fact, I was actually looking at last year's pictures. You actually got to the party a little bit later.
Yes,
than
I
me.
did. Yes,
yeah,
I
which
did.
was-
Yes.
But
which is
again,
actually better for me. And which means if it's better for me, it's probably better for you. Better for you.
Well, it depends on how you define better.
Yep.
But yeah, it was you put this. You helped close up shop.
Yeah,
at the end.
I like to do
Yeah.
that. I like to make sure, at the end of the night, I like to make sure any cleaning up that I can help do, I like to hang around until that happens. So
didn't
if
clean
there's,
anything
if there's
up.
some pans to be washed or some counters to be wiped down, I like to be there for that part of it.
Oh, yeah.
As a guest, I like to give back.
Right.
That's why I'm not always the first person to leave. Everyone thinks I stay because I don't know when to go home. I know when to go home, but when the cleanup is over, and that's why I stay as late as I do.
Yeah, you didn't clean a thing. Just for
All right.
the record. Yeah.
I have to check those pictures. Let me check my pictures.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a different picture.
You can check your video. I will say this though, that there's one guy, and I'll say his name on the radio too. There's one guy who will always be. He's the last one to leave.
Oh, yeah.
He's the last one, and that's Pete Warren.
Yeah.
So Warren gets to the point where it's like we're all sitting around. And it's
He's in your robe, drinking coffee in your kitchen.
Yep.
Hasn't left yet.
I'm brushing my teeth in my room. He's sitting on my bed
Talking to you.
Well, and that's it. Is he's got a
Thoroughly
lot,
engaged.
Yep,
Thoroughly engaged.
He's
Yep.
got something to say. But I will say this. So I tease him. However, this year, if you drive by our house, we have real Christmas lights up, Real Christmas.
What's the, what do you mean? What's the difference?
Because there wasn't going to be any.
Are there fake Christmas lights?
Okay, so we're talking about like guys who put a lot of lights up. I'm
But I'm just saying, you said real Christmas lights. I want to know what the opposite of real Christmas lights is.
So
pictures of Christmas lights? What are we talking about?
I was on a limited capability of
Because you're on the IR?
use,
Yeah, okay.
this year's Christmas lights on the outside were nothing compared to what they've been in the past.
Okay,
They're
all
like
right.
a really reduced level. But unfortunately, there were some complaints by, I don't know,
By your lack of representation?
everybody, my kids, everybody. And all of a sudden, one night, out of the blue, the Christmas elf, Pete Warren, shows
over.
up. And of course, he has to do it at night, like
Sure.
at 8 o'clock at night, and it's cold.
He's
and
got a ladder.
He's got
a
he's got
screw
three
gun,
ladders.
3 ladders,
Yeah.
screw gun.
So-
He's dropping drywall screws all over your siding. Hook these
So-
lights up. Attaboy.
So thanks to Uncle Pete, as my kids said, your Uncle Pete came over and put some respectable lights up. So
There you go. All right.
Yeah, we're
All right,
a little
so
bit more
You're not
representative.
embarrassing
of
yourself
Christmas.
over there?
Exactly.
All right. That's good.
Exactly.
All right. That's a lot of pressure.
So what about your lights? You got lights?
We actually did some lights this year.
you
Yeah,
do.
I give my wife all the credit. She went out. We went out. She always wants to get the tree early.
I like early trees.
Yep.
I
I
like
fight
having
it.
it
I
around.
fight it, as you're surprised to hear.
Yeah.
And so, but no, this year I kind of said, yeah, fine, let's go get it. You know, it's funny. So we went to the Great Outpost Farm, picked up a tree there, and we moved our tree from the living room because we were running out of ceiling height because it's just
Yeah,
not,
that's right. You were saying, right?
Moved it into the cathedral room, if you will, where there's like a big staircase. So we could go a little. The height of the tree is no longer an issue, if you will. So we took care of that. And then I was left some marching orders one day that was like, throw some lights up outside. So went out, threw them up. One of those 40-degree days. It was nice. I hadn't actually done any real work around the house in a while.
say.
So I'm like, this is actually
It's nice to be outside.
A change of pace out here. This is how it looks like.
interesting.
This is how it looks from outside. It's interesting.
This is what this window looks like.
Yeah. So we did a little bit of that, which was fun. It was great. Cleaned up a little bit, and like everybody, you get all your stuff inside. So it's we're chipping away at it. We're getting there, and to your point, the house it sits in that space pretty well. So we'll be taking full advantage.
So again, this all kind of circles back to the what does this have to do? God bless you.
Excuse me. Thank you.
What does this have to do with anything to do with money or the law or anything? And
Well, we could do a whole show on like whether or not your lights are violating a zoning ordinance, and so is that a
There's so
problem?
much- there's
Do you
so
need a
much
building
legal,
permit
yeah.
to put your lights up?
Obviously,
you
you
can
do in
talk about
Holliston.
how much you're spending on lights. If you took that money, invested it in a diversified portfolio, the money you spent on lights and electricity
go in
could turn
any
into
different direction.
$1.7 million in 10 years, and then you'd actually be able to buy a house already lit, and then you just sell it at the end of the season.
Or we could talk about what we like to refer to at the firm as the non-monetary investment. The non-monetary. It's got nothing to do with money.
All right.
It's got nothing to do with money. It's got nothing to do with accumulating assets or anything, or accumulating like value in a portfolio or in a bank. No, we're going to talk
intriguing.
about.
We'll take a break. We're talking about non-monetary assets. Take a break
We're
and
gonna
come
talk
back.
about we're going to talk about the non-monetary investment that you do. Probably around this and Christmas probably is the best example of it.
I'm dying to hear.
You're on the edge.
I'm on
you're
the edge of
all
my
right.
seat.
Okay, so everybody is out doing their last minute shopping right now.
But hold on, maybe you shouldn't be shopping. Maybe you should go the non-monetary route. Stay tuned. Find out what that means. Dads are all like, "This is fantastic. What am I missing? I'm going to write this down."
No. The non-monetary actually sometimes involves money when it comes to Christmas.
Well,
I'm talking about your return.
not
If you're doing
non-monetary.
last-minute shopping right now, keep going. You need to do it. There's a reason the little voice, the little elf behind you, is saying you need to go and get that one more gift or that one
No, you
more
don't.
decoration.
But anyway,
They do.
yep.
All right, everybody, don't go away. We'll be right back on Money in the Law, my FM 101.3 in the Holliston Hub. Stay tuned.
stay tuned.
We'll be right back.
And you're back. Money in the Law, My FM 101.3. Jay Marsden with the Marsden Law Group. John Drohan, Main Effort Financial. We are here at My FM Media in the Media Center. Actually, we're in
Wait,
the...
where
Hold
are
on. We are in the jbrianday.com studios. And actually, I got to tell you a funny story. Tommy's behind the glass, keeping us skinny, keeping us handsome. So for those of you who are obviously faithful listeners, last week I was in here. I misfired on the J. Bryan Day. I originally thought they were that by emergency management services, they meant that they were like a ambulance service or something like that. But as a result of the storm we were talking about earlier, What's the first phone call I made when I was sitting there staring at a pile of
Jay
water in the
Bryan
basement?
Day.
Jay Bryan Day. And I was in my head, and I knew exactly who to call because I not only heard about them, but I
'Cause you work
actually
in the studio.
spoke eloquently about them here at the radio station. So, so for those of you who are also still pumping out your basements, give them a ring and have them swing by and dry everything out for you, because that's what I'm doing.
You'll probably be in a bit of a line
Oh.
if you call him
When
today.
I called, I said to them, "Hey, quick question for you." I said, "I just have to ask, right? Like, are you going to hang up laughing at me when I ask about, what's the timeline for me to?"
Can
He's
you
like,
get
"No,
out
no."
here?
He goes, "We're busy, but yeah, we'll take it down. We'll take
Yeah.
your name down." I'm like, "Yeah, you will make hay, right? Yep, sure you will. Sure
Can
you
you get
will."
out here? What time this afternoon will you be?
Yep.
Won't be today.
Should I go wait by the door? Yep. Hold on one second. Yep. So.
You guys here yet? Yeah.
You can be on the phone when you pull up. That's fantastic. What great service. So that's where we're at. So anyway, so you're talking about non-monetary investment.
All
This
right,
is
so-
exciting. I'm thrilled.
So yeah, it's a little bit of it's kind of counterintuitive here. So we talk about this a lot in the practice where, for instance, let's say somebody who I really want to own my house. I don't want to have a mortgage. I don't want to have debt, right?
Yeah.
And let's say they have a really low interest rate mortgage, and they'll say, and you'll be like, look, you can afford this mortgage. You can afford, and by not paying off the mortgage, it enables you to free up other assets so you can do other things,
Sure.
right? So they'll be like, I get it, I understand, but that's going to make me happy. Like that's that's going to give me that peace of mind, and a lot of the work that we do, a lot of the work that you do. It's all a big part of it is kind of that peace of mind where people are like, okay, I feel good. I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about things or put my time and energy into things that I'm not really familiar with, or that I'm not comfortable with, or that I don't have the time for. I'd rather do it. I'd rather put my time and energy into something else.
Sure.
So this whole idea of being kind of at peace with something, or having something make you feel good, that's real. That's
Right.
real. And even though it may be counterintuitive, or it may be counterproductive from a pure investment or a pure saving standpoint. And so I use the mortgage example because you can make a good argument that if let's say you have money invested in let's say you put it into a treasury that's paying 5% and
Right.
your mortgage is 2%, there's a negative delta there.
Yeah, we've talked about this in the show before, and housing is the big one, right? Like
Yeah.
I completely agree with you. There are certainly instances where you crunch the numbers for somebody and you say to them, look, I can prove to you on paper that it makes better financial sense for you to not pay off your mortgage, right? Like we can do the X's and O's and we can figure it all out, and here's the reason why it makes...
Three-card Monty that at you.
Yeah.
It's not even three-card Monty. It's one card
It's one
Monty.
card money. Here's the reason it makes sense for you to pay off your mortgage, right? Financially, or vice versa. Or financially, it makes sense for you not to pay off your mortgage. That's the whole arbitrage delta thing. Like, yep, you're making more money than you're paying, and it's going to actually put money in your pocket. And every time somebody asks me the mortgage question, I tell them that story, and I go, look, this is probably one of the few times that I'm ever going to say to somebody, it's really up to you.
Yep.
And there's a real, we've talked about on the show, people get real emotional when it comes to real estate. They get real emotional when it comes to their house. They don't see it as an asset. They see it as, a box of memories where they raised their kids and they had all these, Christmas, holidays, and the tree was there and the kids and this and they get all that stuff, and I get it. And so people will say, look, I just want to own my house.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the American dream thing where I own my house. There's a real sense of accomplishment when you pay off that mortgage and you get to say, I own my house. It took me 360 payments, sometimes more because you refinance and restart the clock. So, this has been a project
Most of the time it's more.
long time in the making.
Yeah.
And
It's
so
a lifetime. It's a life.
Yep.
It's almost like a life's work.
Yeah, it's a real. It truly feels like a real. It is a real accomplishment, but it's a huge accomplishment, and it's finite. You guys talk about retirement into 110, 115, and I get that, and everybody can sort of conceptually understand that, but that doesn't feel the same as I paid off my house.
Yeah.
That's bragging rights. I own my house. outright.
Yeah,
Everybody.
It's one thing that no matter what, I have a place to stay.
Yeah.
I have a place to live, and it's mine.
Yep.
And I, for my hard work or my family's hard work, this is, we got to do this.
And people really feel like they're in control of their destiny once they own their house.
Yeah. So I won't say equate it, but I'll liken that to kind of that, for many people, for most people, some in this room, some not in this room, that feeling about like, spending or putting an effort into something that may not necessarily give you like a monetary investment return. And Christmas is always in kind of in our world and what I've seen, and especially from what I've seen, kind of with my experience with my in-laws and kind of the way they do it over there, it's one of those things where they and it's not always money. It's not always like I put a ton of money. It's I buy the most expensive gifts and that.
Right.
It's not that. It's just it's the attention to detail. It's the commitment to being like, hey, this is like a really important time. Let's commit time to it. Let's commit resources to it. Now, is it going to make us, or is it going to make us be able to retire sooner? No, it's not. It's not. But it is going to give us that. It's going to give us that thing. It's going to give us that thing that when as you start to the summer's over and you're coming into fall, you're like, there's always that the holidays are coming.
Yeah.
The holidays are there, and as kids, we always anticipate it because wow, you're going to get presents and Santa's going to come and all there's all that. But then even more, like 10 times, 100 times more as an adult, it was I got the understanding, or I got the realization of it, that it's going to be this. Everybody's going to get together. I'm going to get to see everybody. When the kids are little, you're going to get to see like your kids like so psyched. You're going to get to spend time with like your extended family. We have our Christmas party where we'll see people once a year, and they're like our family and kind of like our extended and kind of, and you don't see them all year round, but when you see them at Christmas, it's like you just saw them yesterday.
Yeah.
And
there's
that's
a gift right there.
That's
a gift. There's real value in that. I know what you're saying.
Right?
I know what you're saying.
And so it's like that kind of and again, it's not about the money, right? Because there's plenty of people that do this without spending a lot of money, but it's the spending of like your energy.
Well, this is something that you start to see. I mean, we've had these conversations where we say, look, you know what? Rather than just do some like exchange of whatever, right?
Yeah.
I give you this, you give me that. If it's ballpark close and value wine, that's great. But if not, that's fine too. We're okay with it. But I'm going to remember that you did.
Tullamore Dew.
Yeah, I'm going to remember you didn't do me a solid this year.
I do have a book.
But the other thing is what we've started to talk about is, you know what? Let's give the gift of time. Let's talk about that. Like, we're not going to give each other anything, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to put something on the calendar right now, and we're going to block that thing, right? And that could be lunch, that could be dinner, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to spend that time together because, and again, when you were younger, you'd say to your parents, what do you want for Christmas? Maybe your mother and father like, well, I'm set. Give me a card. We're all good, right? We're all good. Because honestly, they're right. You look back and you're like, they're right. They don't really need anything, right? What are we getting, right?
Yeah.
But the gift of time, the gift of memories, the gift of an experience, that's a different animal. That's a different animal, and that doesn't even have to be a monetary thing. That doesn't even have to involve an actual meal. That could just be, look, let's just go for a walk. Let's just spend time together, and really put all the outside distractions, that has real value, especially as your parents get older. That's a real gift. That's a real gift.
I was getting ready to think about it, right? So for those of you who are fortunate that your parents are still around, or your elderly relatives are still around, many of them are not, right? And many, so you get to that the ability to be able to spend some time, to spend like quality time, and make it be an event, right?
Mm-hmm.
And make it be a something that like that has like significance, and people put emphasis on it. People come from a lot of times people travel to come to be together. So that's and it's like this way, we only get to do this like once a year, or we only get to do this for like this certain time period during the year. That's again, the value piece of that to me as a financial person, like if someone says to me, I'm going to spend money on that, like I need to have like money in order for me to travel,
Sure.
so I can go to California to where that's where Christmas is for my family. Like
Yep.
my sister lives out there. She's the one who hosts Christmas. Every year I got to get all my kids to get out to California.
Or how about this? I haven't gone the last couple of years,
Yep.
right? Because we couldn't go, COVID, timing, work. There's a million reasons why you can't get 5 days off to travel out to the West Coast to see someone. There's a million reasons, right? So, as you were saying.
Yeah, I mean, so all of that, like that, to me, that's an investment.
Yes, I agree.
That's an investment in something that at the end of the day, because, and you've heard it from your two, I say Jay, he's a lawyer, but he's also a finance guy because he worked for that Fidelity. Did I say that?
I can't say part of the NDA.
Yeah, that's right. It's probably non-disclosure. So two finance that look. It's only money, right? Money's not going to make you happy.
Well, there's a book out right now. It's called Die Broke.
Yep.
And the idea behind the concept of the idea behind the book is, look, don't wait till you get to the finish line for your kids to sort of experience their inheritance, because what does that deprives you of the ability to share your own personal successes with your family when they may need it the most, right? So to your point, if you're sitting around right now wondering, oh, what am I going to do with that minimum required distribution that I just had to take out? What am I going to do? I'm not saying you got to gift it, but I'm saying, you know what? You want to drop a couple of plane tickets on somebody and say, look, we'd love to see you over the holidays. It doesn't have to be Christmas. It could be the week after. It could be you know what? I'm bringing everybody in. I mean, you hear this more and more, right? You hear people talking about, we did a family trip, we did a family vacation. We Airbnb'd a place down the Cape or up in the mountains or on a lake, but we pulled it together.
Yep.
And people will move heaven and earth for that stuff.
Yep.
And you're 1,000% right. Is that a monetary? Is there a monetary ROI you can assign to that?
Yeah.
Absolutely
No,
not.
You're
Absolutely
going
not.
in the negative.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Your
That's right.
credit card bill is going to go up.
You're in the red as much as that shirt you're wearing right now, right? But does that bring you joy? Does that bring you happiness? Does that bring your family together? I mean, guys like me on the estate side, I'm like, if you bring everybody together and everybody knows what's going on, and that keeps enough family harmony going.
That keeps everybody showing up for Christmas.
That's right. And then down the road, no one's dropping the gloves over what your quote wishes were because they've been basically estranged because they don't see each other for 20 years. There's real value in that. Absolutely.
Real value. And,
yes.
And you could also make the argument that there could be some obtuse monetary value in that as well. If like that Uncle Fred, who you've always been nice to, and he's the only guy, he shows up every year, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, when Uncle Fred says, hey, listen, I got you a little something I put under the tree for you. Yeah. And it's a $10,000 check. Hey, Uncle Fred.
And you could say, hey, Uncle Fred, the limit's 18 now. It's not 10 anymore.
Right.
Just coach him up a little bit. Just coach him up. He might be in the dark.
That's right.
Great way to connect. Uncle Fred might like money. Have that conversation,
Uncle Fred, let me tell you what I know about money.
It's funny.
This is money in the law.
This is a gift. It's funny. Guys, I do a radio show. They talk about how that's the number is. I'm just you find it interesting, right? But and if you get relatives who say, hey, I'll take the ticket in my name, and then they want to cash the ticket in, they want points so they can do another trip somewhere else. That gives you some idea that maybe there's some adjustments to the estate plan that need to be made here. Maybe there's some changes. But
at the end of the day, Christmas is the epitome of that, right? And you talk about how it's the epitome of where you're going to put money, you're going to put resources, you're going to put time, you're going to put energy into something that is going to enable your loved ones, whether it's your family, your friends, or a combination, or your coworkers, even like at work, right? Like when you have we've all been to like these kind of office Christmas parties, but even the fact that you do something with your office and you kind of take some time out from the mundane,
from the
grind
yes.
of work. There's something to be said about that.
Well, you're recognizing that the relationship is important to you,
right? And you're stopping, right? You say, okay, let's put everything aside for like right now, and let's just remember that we're all people, and we all like each other enough.
Yeah.
I may not think you're that good at your job. You may not think I'm not that good at my job, but that aside, we get along and we can.
Well,
and we spend a lot of time together.
Well, that's where a lot of connections are made outside of the office when you actually come together for something that's not forcing you to be together, and you find out you get some common ground, and you say to yourself, you know what, actually, I was talking to so-and-so, he's actually a pretty nice guy, pretty nice person. We had a great time. I understand them better than I ever would have in the office, because we took it out of that setting and made it a little bit different and made it a little personal. Again, you had to spend a little bit of money to maybe pull the lunch or the dinner together, but the bringing together of people, which is really what the whole season's all about, that's really what works.
And it's funny, you brought up a great point about before you mentioned about, like, when you're a kid and you say to your parents, like, hey, what do you want for Christmas, right? And my old man would always be like, I don't want anything,
Yeah.
I mean, but you knew exactly what he wanted.
Yeah.
He just wanted everybody to come home.
I wanted time with you guys.
He wanted everybody to come home. He wanted everybody to come home and get along,
Yep.
right? He
Yep.
wanted it to be. He wanted everybody to come home and not make your mother mad, right?
Yep. That's right.
That was his. And nothing more than that, right? Nothing more did he want. Like if you got him like the Honus Wagner autographed baseball card
Sure.
worth. Well, maybe that was worth
He might
quite a bit
want
of money
that.
back.
He might want that.
Yeah, but if you get him that whatever, like his
Sweater, English leather.
If you get him or if
Book.
or if the late great Jimmy Buffett walks in and hands him something, that's kind of cool.
Somebody's
right?
into that.
Yeah,
Somebody's into that.
But at the same time, would he rather have that, or would he rather have his family getting along?
Yeah.
He would choose option B, nine every time.
Yeah,
Like,
as would you, right? The
as
answer.
all of us would,
That's right.
right?
The answer is always the same, right? What's it all about? To your point. And as you get older, the kids go away, then they come back, but then they go away a little longer, and then they come back, then they go away a little longer. And at some point, corralling them, it becomes even harder and harder and harder. Their life goes in their direction, and it becomes tougher and tougher to pull everybody together. And that's part of it. But so, as you get older, you start to appreciate those times a little more.
I'm starting to get touched
A little
right
emotional.
now.
He's getting a little emotional.
I'm
He's getting a
starting to
little
feel it
emotional.
right now. All right,
Yeah.
so I think it's time.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah,
All
we're
right.
good.
All right, so on behalf...
This is it. On behalf of the
Money
whole
Law,
crew. Yeah.
From Tom, Jay, we wish all of you a very, very, very Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, even though Hanukkah's over.
Sure,
Hope
it's
you
all right.
had a Happy Hanukkah. I hope you had a wonderful, wonderful holiday. And make sure you pay attention to enjoy the time with those people that you're spending it with.
It's the best non-monetary investment you'll ever make.
I'm telling you, you will feel rich like a king after
Yes,
this.
you will. Maybe
right.
one of three kings. Maybe, the kind of like three king. There's a whole thing around that, right? Isn't that a
kid,
thing?
That's why we keep you on the show.
That's why I'm here. That's like I did. I
right.
did the homework.
All right, Tommy, Merry Christmas.
Merry
Thank
Christmas,
you for my
Tommy.
gift. All right, I made it official, so it's something. All right.
All our faithful listeners,
right.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Hope to see you in the new year.
All right, we'll see everybody later.
Take care.